Good morning and a very warm welcome. This is the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Today is the fourth and final day of President Karunaratne's state visit to China. We have details on the president's program for the day, and also China and Sri Lanka issued a joint statement with regards to the president's state visit to China. They released this statement last evening. We have details coming up on the content of this statement as well. And in more local news, the PSL's final decision with regards to this year's electricity tariff will be announced today. And in news overseas this morning, we are following up on a headline-making international news item, which is of course the ceasefire deal that was reached between Israel and Hamas. There seems to be a minor setback in this regard. We have details on all these stories and so much more coming up right here on the Breakfast Rundown. So let's dive right in. Let's move on to the top local story for this morning. President Karunaratne is set to undertake a tour to study China's successful poverty alleviation programs. According to the president's media division, the visit includes a tour of several regions where the president and his delegation will visit villages that have overcome poverty, as well as centers dedicated to poverty alleviation efforts. China is globally recognized as a leading example in eliminating poverty, and its strategies have garnered attention worldwide. The primary objective of President Dissanayaka's visit is to learn from China's rural poverty alleviation initiatives, with the goal of applying similar strategies to address poverty in Sri Lanka's rural parts. Well, Sri Lanka and China have expressed commitment to advancing all major development projects, including the integrated development of the Columbo Port city as well as the Hambantota International Port. This agreement was highlighted in a joint statement released during President AKD's state visit to China. The joint statement, which was issued yesterday, outlines the signing of a Belt and Road Cooperation Plan aimed at opening new avenues for successful development. President Karunaratne of Sri Lanka and President Xi Jinping of China have reaffirmed their commitment to deepening bilateral relations, and a joint statement was issued following their engagements. Key points from the joint statement include commitment to building a China-Sri Lanka community, reaffirmed recognition of Taiwan as an inalienable part of China's territory, and oppose any form of Taiwan independence. China assured its commitment to an independent foreign policy of peace, while Sri Lanka emphasized its dedication to an independent, non-aligned foreign policy. Now, both sides agreed to expedite the conclusion of a comprehensive free trade agreement, ensuring mutual benefits and win-win outcomes. Sri Lanka also welcomed Chinese business investments. The two countries agreed to expand cooperation in agriculture as well. An agreement was reached to enhance maritime cooperation. Both sides committed to further exchanges of teachers, students, as well as researchers. The joint statement emphasized the swift implementation of the agreed debt restructuring plan with Chinese financial institutions. The joint statement also noted the signing of cooperation documents in agriculture, tourism, livelihood assistance, media and other sectors during President Dissanayaka's state visit. Well, let's move on to more local news for this morning. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka is set to announce its final decision with regards to the electricity tariff today. Chairman of the PUCSL, Professor Chandralal, said that public feedback on the proposed tariff changes were collected over the past few weeks from all the 9 provinces of Sri Lanka. He added that more than 500 people had shared their views and opinions with the PUCSL during this public consultation process. Now, after thoroughly reviewing the feedback along with the data from the Ceylon Electricity Board, the Commission will reveal its final decision today. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation has confirmed that all containers previously backlogged at the Colombo Port have now been cleared through the necessary processes. Deputy Minister Therunee Karunaratne said that the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, along with other relevant institutions including Sri Lanka Customs, has efficiently worked to resolve this situation. A meeting to review the progress on the clearance process is also scheduled for today. He added that approximately 2,000 containers arrive at the Colombo Port daily. To manage the growing volume, the government is implementing both short-term and long-term plans to expand the port's storage capacity. Now, the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation has also decided to revisit the recent decision to award operations of the Mattala International Airport to two Indian-Russian companies following concerns over the agreement's legitimacy and potential complications. Deputy Minister Therunee Karunaratne disclosed that the Indian company selected for the operation is currently listed by the United States for adverse reasons, raising questions about the appropriateness of this particular partnership. He also highlighted that the terms of the profit-sharing agreement are unfavorable for the Sri Lankan government, prompting a reassessment of this deal that has been reached. The ministry will conduct a comprehensive review and present its findings to the cabinet for further action to be taken in this regard. Currently, the Mattala International Airport operations are being managed by the Airport and Aviation Services as well as Sri Lankan Airlines. The Deputy Minister added that only one flight per week is currently arriving at this airport. The Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government has announced plans to restore unused government vehicles at government warehouses. Minister Professor Chandana Beratna said that many vehicles belonging to various departments are currently idle and in poor condition. However, he said that some of these vehicles can be repaired and put back into service. The minister also highlighted that the shortage of functional vehicles has been affecting the work of several government institutions. To address this issue, the ministry will identify vehicles that can be repaired. Those in need of maintenance will also be fixed and returned to use. A special investigation will also be carried out to ensure government vehicles assigned to ministries and provincial councils are being used properly as well as effectively. Now, for over a year, we at Newsfirst have been reporting the Myanmar issue with regards to the cybercrime camps as well as Sri Lankans who have fallen prey to the criminals operating in these cybercrime camps. The Sri Lankan embassy in Myanmar has now reported that these 4 more individuals have fallen prey to these criminals. The Sri Lankan embassy in Myanmar has reported that these individuals are being held hostage in separate locations. Newsfirst previously reported that more than 50 Sri Lankan youth were held captive by an armed group in a region near the Myanmar-Thailand border. These individuals were lured into Myanmar with the promises of jobs related to the IT sector, but were subsequently forced into committing various cyber crimes. While several groups have been rescued with the assistance of various parties on 3 separate occasions, approximately 20 individuals still remain in captivity under these armed gangs. Now, Aneka Boram, one young woman who endured months of captivity and different forms of torture, managed to escape and return to Sri Lanka. She revealed that she had been deceived by a fellow Sri Lankan and sold to these cyber slavery camps. Initially told she was being taken to Thailand, she was instead transported to Yangon in Myanmar. From there, she and 3 others were taken in multiple vehicles to Myawaddy, located near the Myanmar-Thailand border. Newsfirst's Zulfik Fazan brings us an exclusive interview with Aneka Boram. The full interview can be viewed on our Newsfirst social media platforms. But for now, let's take a look at a small part of this interview.
I would call it a hell because it's like a horror movie, you know, because every day we used to get punished, and we used to see people getting beat to death. So many Indians, they fought back, not like us. We are safe here. without any problems. Not even one was disabled there, because we used to make sure we don't fight back or talk back. Authorities in Sri Lanka, which you need to register, please don't go on visit visa. Then you're in very big trouble. Go with proper visa and proper documentation. Yes, I got forged documentations about offer letters and all, but please make sure you don't trust like me blindly. Even your own person, if they are hungry for money, they can sell you, because it's, even if you see these Indian movies, they always sell people, right? Human trafficking. So many, we only saw that in Hindi movies, Indian movies, but it's day-to-day life even in Sri Lanka. Human trafficking is not something you should not take it easy. It's very, horrifying thing. If you can't get rid and come, if you're not lucky enough, you'll be dead there somewhere.
Let's move on to the weather update for this morning. The Met Department forecasts that rainy conditions will temporarily intensify over the eastern, northern, north central and central provinces starting tomorrow. Showers or thunder showers are expected at times in the Uva province as well as in the Matale and Nuwara Eliya districts. Several spells of showers may occur in the eastern, northern and north central provinces as well as in the Hambantota district. Showers or thunder showers are likely at a few places in the Sabaragamuwa and western provinces as well as in the Gaul and Mathura districts, particularly during the afternoon or night. Fairly strong winds ranging from 30 to 40 kilometers per hour may occur at times over the eastern slopes of the central hills as well as the northern, north central, eastern, northwestern and Uva provinces and in the Hambantota district. Misty conditions are also expected in some parts of the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura district during the morning hours as well. Allow me to shift your attention to news overseas for this morning. We're following up, like I said earlier, on a headline-making international news item, the ceasefire deal that was reached between Israel and Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now delayed a cabinet vote to approve the Gaza ceasefire deal due on Thursday, accusing Hamas of seeking last-minute changes to this agreement. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said a loose end was being tied up and that he was confident the ceasefire would still begin on Sunday as planned. Although Israeli negotiators agreed to the deal after months of talks, it cannot be implemented until it is approved by the Security Cabinet as well as the government. The delay came after Israeli strikes in Gaza following Wednesday's announcement of a deal killed more than 80 people, and this is according to the Hamas-run health ministry. A few hours before Thursday morning meeting was due, Netanyahu accused Hamas of trying to quote-unquote extort last-minute concessions. The statement from his office read that the cabinet would not convene until Hamas accepted all elements of this agreement. Blinken said such a delay was to be expected in such a challenging situation. He said that the US, however, was confident that the deal would still come into force on Sunday as planned and that the ceasefire would then persist from that point onwards. Israeli media reported that the cabinet was expected to meet on Friday to approve the deal and that the alleged issue had been resolved, although this was not officially confirmed. The majority of Israeli ministers are expected to back the deal, but late on Thursday, the country's security minister said that his right-wing party would quit Netanyahu's government if this ceasefire deal was approved. Well, that brings to a close this Friday's edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. Tomorrow marks the start of a weekend, of course, so I'll see you once again on Monday right here on TV1, same time, that is 7 a.m. Until then, take care, have a wonderful day and weekend ahead.